The massive space station floated in the darkness near Proxima Centauri. Its metal walls stretched for miles in every direction. Inside the main chamber, beings from across the galaxy gathered around a huge circular table. The air buzzed with tension as holographic displays showed star maps and battle reports. Council leader Vextar stood at the center. His tall blue-skinned form towered over the others. 6 arms moved gracefully as he pointed to the floating images above the table. The data was clear and brutal. Another species was about to die. The humans have lasted longer than we expected, Vextar said. His voice echoed through the chamber. But our calculations show they will fall within 6 hours. Admiral Cray of the Zephyrian Navy laughed. His reptilian face showed sharp teeth. These primitive creatures should have died weeks ago. They use metal bullets and simple explosives. How did they survive this long against the harvesters? The holographic display showed Earth's solar system. Red dots marked harvester ships moving closer to the blue planet. Yellow dots showed human vessels retreating from every front. The numbers told a simple story. The humans were losing badly. Their technology is ancient, said Counselor Nixila. Her insect-like eyes studied the data. They only reached space 200 years ago. We have starships older than their entire civilization. Around the table, other alien leaders nodded, the Veltorians with their crystal bodies, the gas-dwelling Nephrons floating in their containment suits, the machine race Syntheri with their glowing red sensors. All agreed on one thing. Humanity was doomed. Vextar activated another display. It showed human military reports they had intercepted. Mars colonies have fallen. Jupiter's moons are under attack. Their orbital defenses around Earth are failing. He paused dramatically. The Harvester main fleet will reach Earth in 4 hours. Should we intervene? Asked a young Veltorian diplomat. The chamber fell silent. Then Admiral Cray spoke. For what purpose? We cannot waste Council resources on a species that will be extinct by tomorrow. The Harvesters have destroyed 47 civilizations. These humans will be number 48. Far from the Council station, the human command ship Soul's Pride drifted among the wreckage of a recent battle. The vessel's hull bore scars from energy weapons. Through its windows, the crew could see the twisted remains of other human ships floating in space. On the bridge, Fleet Admiral Dong Min studied the tactical displays. His weathered face showed no emotion as he read the casualty reports. Behind him, officers worked at their stations with quiet efficiency. The red emergency lights cast shadows across their faces. Captain Yu Jin approached with a data pad. Her uniform was stained with oil and sweat. Sir, the final numbers from Mars are in. We lost 60,000 civilians and most of the defense fleet. Dong Min took the report without looking up from his screens. How many ships do we have left? 312 vessels across all fleets. The Harvesters have over 10,000 ships approaching Earth. Yu Jin's voice stayed steady despite the terrible odds. The Admiral finally turned to face her. And our special projects? Luna Base reports they are ready. Dr. Haywan says they just need your authorization code. Dong Min walked to the main view screen. Outside, he could see distant explosions as human and harvester forces clashed near Saturn's rings. Each flash of light meant more human lives lost, but his expression remained calm. Tell me, Captain, he said quietly, what do you know about wolves? Yu Jin looked confused. Wolves, sir? On Earth long ago, humans learned to hunt with wolves. Other predators were stronger, faster, but wolves were smart. They worked together. They learned from their prey. He turned back to face the bridge crew. The Harvesters think they are hunting sheep. They are about to discover they have cornered wolves. The communications officer looked up from his station. Sir, we're receiving a message from the Galactic Council. They're offering to record our final battle for their historical archives. Several officers turned to stare at the Admiral. The suggestion was insulting. The mighty council would watch humanity die and take notes for their libraries. Dongmin smiled for the first time in days. Send them a reply. Tell them we appreciate their interest in human history, and tell them to keep recording. They won't want to miss what happens next. On the council station, the aliens monitored dozens of communication channels. Human military chatter filled their speakers. Most of it sounded like standard retreat orders and damage reports. Nothing unusual for a dying species. But technician Brixenol noticed something odd in the data. Energy readings from Earth's moon were much higher than they should be. The power levels made no sense for human technology. Admiral Cray, Brixenol called out. I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from Luna Base. Cray barely looked at the readings. Equipment malfunction. Human technology is primitive. They couldn't generate power levels like that. But sir, the patterns suggest— Focus on the main battle, Cray interrupted. The harvesters will finish this soon. Back on Seoul's Pride, Admiral Dongmin received a private message on his personal communicator. Dr. Haewon's face appeared on the small screen. She looked tired but determined. Admiral, Project Prometheus is ready for activation. We've run every simulation. The probability of success is— Well, it's our only chance. How long do we need? Dongmin asked. Give us 20 minutes after you send the authorization. And Admiral, this will work. I know it will, Dongmin nodded. He had known Dr. Haewon for 15 years. She had never failed him. You'll have your 20 minutes, Doctor. Make them count. He closed the connection and turned to Yujin. Signal all fleet commanders. Begin Operation Shepherd. Shepherd, sir? It's time to separate the wolves from the sheep, Captain. As orders went out across the human fleet, something changed in the way human ships moved. They stopped retreating in panic. Instead, they began moving with purpose. Ships that had been scattered across the solar system started forming new formations. The Galactic Council watched these movements with mild interest. To them, it looked like humans were gathering for a final desperate stand. Admiral Cray updated his predictions. The humans might last an extra hour before complete destruction. None of the aliens understood what they were really seeing. The human fleet wasn't preparing to die. They were preparing to hunt. Far beneath the surface of Earth's moon, massive machines hummed with power. Technicians ran final checks on systems the galaxy had never seen before. In hidden bunkers across the solar system, human scientists activated equipment that would change everything. The harvesters approached Earth with confidence. They had destroyed worlds for thousands of years. Their mechanical minds calculated the same result as the Council. Humans would fall within hours. But the harvesters, like the Council, had made one critical mistake. They had studied human technology and human weapons. They had analyzed human military tactics and human ship designs. But they had never bothered to understand what made humans truly dangerous. They were about to learn that humans didn't fight like any other species in the galaxy. And that lesson would cost them everything. The Council observation station maintained its safe distance from the battle zone. Through powerful sensors, the aliens watched what they believed would be humanity's final hours. Council technician Brixnell sat at his monitoring station, tracking communication signals across the solar system. The human communications have changed, Brixnell reported to his supervisor. They're using different frequencies now, and these energy readings from their moon base keep getting stronger. Supervisor Dexmol floated over in his environmental suit. His gas-form body swirled inside the clear container. Show me the data. Brixnell pulled up the readings on his screen. The power levels from Luna Base had doubled in the last hour. Sir, these numbers don't match anything in our database. How can such a primitive species generate this much energy? Sensor error, Dexmol said dismissively. Their fusion reactors are probably overloading. We'll see some spectacular explosions when they fail. But Brixnell wasn't convinced. He had been monitoring alien communications for 30 years. These patterns were different. The humans weren't panicking anymore. Their military chatter had become precise and coordinated, almost like they were following a plan. Deep beneath the surface of Earth's moon, Dr. Haewon walked through corridors that didn't exist on any public map. The Luna Base facility extended for miles underground. Most humans didn't know it was there. The Galactic Council certainly didn't know. Status report, Dr. Haewon called out as she entered the main control room. Engineer Tae-sung looked up from his console. Quantum resonance chambers are at full capacity. All 7 reactors are stable. We're ready for activation on your command. Dr. Haewon studied the massive displays showing energy flow throughout the hidden complex. Project Prometheus had taken 10 years to build. The finest human scientists had worked in secret to create something the galaxy had never seen before. What about the network connections? She asked. Every human ship, station, and defense platform is linked to our system, reported technician Hyojin. They don't even know they're connected. The quantum transmitters we installed look like standard communication equipment. Dr. Haewon smiled. That had been the most clever part of the plan. For 3 years, human ships had been receiving standard upgrades to their communication systems. Small quantum transmitters that appeared to be normal equipment. Now every human vessel in space was secretly connected to Luna Base. Dr. Yonsu, how are our test subjects? Dr. Heiwan asked. Dr. Yonsu gestured toward a sealed chamber in the corner of the room. Inside, pieces of captured harvester technology floated in containment fields. We've learned everything we need to know about their network protocols. The virus packages are ready for deployment. This was humanity's greatest secret. While the Council and the Harvesters saw them as primitive warriors with simple weapons, humans had been studying their enemies. Every Harvester ship they destroyed, every piece of technology they captured had been brought here for analysis. The aliens thought warfare was about having better weapons and more ships. Humans had learned it was about understanding your enemy better than they understood themselves. In orbit around Earth, Captain Jinne commanded the destroyer Busan Thunder. Her ship was part of what remained of the Third Fleet. Only 47 vessels survived from the original 300. But her crew worked with calm efficiency despite the odds. Ma'am, we're receiving coded transmissions from Luna Base, reported Communications Officer Wu Bin. Jinne nodded. Put it through my private channel. Dr. Heiwan's voice came through clearly. Captain, we are go for Protocol 7. Are your systems ready? Jinne checked her tactical display. The quantum transmitter hidden in her communication array showed green status lights. All systems nominal, Doctor. Busan Thunder is ready. Good luck, Captain. In 20 minutes we change everything. Navigator So Young looked up from her station. Captain, the Harvester main fleet has entered the outer solar system. Their mothership it's enormous. Through the view screen they could see the approaching enemy. The Harvester mothership was the size of a small moon. Its dark hull bristled with weapons that could destroy planets. Around it flew thousands of smaller ships, each one larger than any human vessel. So Young, how many ships are in their fleet? Jinne asked. Sensors count over 10,000 vessels, ma'am, including the mothership. Weapons Officer Min Ho shook his head. Ma'am, our entire combined fleet couldn't scratch that mothership's armor. How are we supposed to fight something like that? Jinne studied the enemy formation. The Harvesters moved with mechanical precision. Every ship in its exact position. Every weapon aimed with perfect calculation. They were a fleet that had conquered the galaxy through overwhelming force and superior technology. But they had never faced humans before. Minho, Jinne said calmly, what's the first rule of fighting a larger enemy? Don't fight them on their terms, ma'am. Exactly. We're not going to fight their ships. We're going to fight their minds. On Earth, President Myung-ho stood in the Global Defense Command Center deep beneath Seoul. The bunker could survive a direct nuclear strike. Today it might need to survive much worse. Defense Minister Soo-jin approached with the latest reports. Mr. President, all fleet commanders have confirmed readiness for Protocol 7. Admiral Dong-min is waiting for your authorization. President Myung-ho looked at the massive display showing the solar system. Red enemy contacts outnumbered blue human forces by 30-1. In conventional warfare, this would be suicide. But Protocol 7 wasn't conventional warfare. Minister Soo-jin, how long have we been preparing for this moment? 15 years, sir. Ever since we learned the Harvesters existed. And how long have the Council been underestimating us? Since first contact, Mr. President, Myung-ho nodded. Then it's time to educate them. Send the authorization code. The message flashed instantly to Luna Base. Dr. Heiwan received it at her control station and entered the codes into the system. Across her displays, status lights turned from yellow to green. All stations, this is control. Prometheus protocol is now active. Begin final sequence. Throughout the hidden facility, hundreds of technicians began the process that would change galactic history. Quantum computers calculated targeting solutions. Energy flowed through systems designed to weaponize the very laws of physics. And in the containment chambers, captured Harvester technology provided the keys to their enemy's destruction. The Galactic Council continued their observations, unaware that they were about to witness something impossible. Admiral Cray updated his prediction models. The humans are gathering their remaining ships around Earth, a final desperate stand. They'll be extinct within 3 hours. Council leader Vextar studied the human formations. Their tactics are predictable. Group your strongest ships around your homeworld and hope for the best. These creatures show no innovation, but if the Council had been monitoring the right frequencies, they would have heard something that should have terrified them. Across every human ship, station, and outpost, the same message was being transmitted in perfect synchronization. Protocol 7 is active. All units synchronized to Luna-based transmission. Prepare for quantum cascade initiation. The humans weren't preparing for a last stand. They were preparing to turn 10,000 years of Harvester superiority into their greatest weakness. In the Harvester fleet, mechanical minds calculated their approach to Earth. They had destroyed 47 civilizations before this one. Their tactics had never failed. Overwhelming force, superior technology, and perfect coordination had conquered the galaxy. But they had never encountered a species that studied defeat to learn victory. And they had never faced an enemy that could turn their greatest strength into their greatest vulnerability. The countdown to Protocol 7 reached its final minutes. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, the balance of power in the galaxy was about to shift forever. Council leader Vextar grew more irritated with each passing hour. His predictions showed the humans should have collapsed by now. Yet their ships continued to fight with increasing coordination. Something was wrong with his calculations. Admiral Cray, Vextar called across the observation chamber. Why are the humans still organized? Your models predicted total chaos by now. Admiral Cray studied his tactical displays with growing confusion. The human fleet movements made no sense. Instead of scattering in panic, they were forming precise formations. Ships that had been retreating were now advancing with purpose. Perhaps they are attempting one final assault, Cray suggested. Desperate creatures often show unexpected courage before death. But Technician Brixnell had been watching the human communications all day. The patterns he saw didn't match any known retreat or assault plan. Sir, I'm detecting massive energy buildups across human territory. These readings they're impossible. Cray floated over to examine the data. The power signatures were indeed massive. But they appeared to be coming from locations with no military bases. Equipment malfunction. Run a full diagnostic on our sensors. I've run 5 diagnostics, sir. The readings are accurate. The humans are generating energy levels that exceed our dreadnought reactors. Around the chamber, other council members began to take notice. The Veltorians with their crystal bodies started examining the data with their advanced optical sensors. The machine race Syntheri ran rapid calculations through their quantum processors. This makes no sense, muttered Counselor Nixla. We have their technology profiles. They use primitive fusion reactors and chemical propulsion. How can they generate this much power? On Earth, President Myung-ho stood before the emergency session of the Global Defense Parliament. Representatives from every nation gathered in the underground chamber. The walls displayed real-time battle feeds from across the solar system. Fellow humans, President Myung-ho began. For months we have watched our people die fighting an enemy that seemed unstoppable. The Galactic Council believes we are about to join 47 other dead civilizations. They are wrong. Representative Yoonji from the Korean Federation leaned forward. Mr. President, our losses have been enormous. Mars is gone. The outer colonies have fallen. How can we possibly defeat an enemy that has conquered the galaxy? Because we learned from every species they destroyed before us, Myung-ho replied. While the council watched and took notes, we studied those notes. We analyzed every defeat, every mistake, every tactical error. We know exactly how the harvesters fight. Representative Kyung-ho from the African Union stood up. Are you saying we deliberately allowed them to advance this far? I'm saying we gave them exactly what they expected to see. A primitive species with outdated weapons fighting a losing battle. We let them commit their entire fleet to our solar system. Today we spring the trap. The chamber fell silent. Outside, the sounds of distant explosions could be heard as harvester forces approached Earth's orbital defenses. But instead of fear, the representatives saw determination in their president's eyes. 15 years ago, we learned that the harvesters existed. We could have joined the Galactic Council and begged for protection. Instead, we chose to protect ourselves. And in the process, we developed something the galaxy has never seen. Minister Su-jin activated a holographic display showing Luna Base. But instead of the small research station the Council believed it to be, the image revealed a massive underground complex. Project Prometheus, Myung-ho continued. The largest scientific undertaking in human history. Built in secret with technology the Council believes we don't possess. In the Harvester fleet, the mothership's central intelligence processed the approach to Earth. Its mechanical mind held the tactical data from 47 previous conquests. Every battle followed the same pattern. Overwhelming force led to quick surrender or total annihilation. The Harvester mothership was ancient beyond measure. It had witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations across the galaxy. Its hull bore the scars of 1,000 battles. Its weapons had turned planets to ash, and its mechanical intelligence had never known defeat. The Central Intelligence calculated the human fleet strength. 300 vessels against 10,000. The humans had positioned their ships in a defensive formation around Earth. Standard tactics for a hopeless last stand. Estimated time to complete conquest: 2 hours and 17 minutes. But if the Harvester intelligence had the capacity for doubt, it might have wondered why the humans seemed so calm. Their communications showed no panic. Their ship movements remained precise and coordinated. They fought like a species that believed it could win. Back on the council station, Admiral Cray received an urgent report from his science officer. "Sir, the energy readings from human territory have increased again. They're now generating more power than our entire observation fleet." "That's impossible," Cray snapped. "Check the sensors again." "I've checked them 6 times, sir." "The readings are accurate." "And there's something else. We're detecting coordinated energy spikes from human ships throughout the solar system. They're all synchronized to the same frequency." For the first time, Admiral Cray felt a flicker of uncertainty. Synchronized energy patterns suggested advanced coordination systems, but humans used primitive radio communications. They shouldn't be capable of such precise timing across such vast distances. Council leader Vextar joined the conversation. "What kind of energy patterns?" "Quantum frequency modulation, sir. The type used in our most advanced communication networks. But the scale is enormous. It's like they've connected every human ship and station into a single network." "Impossible," Vextar declared. "Humans don't possess quantum communication technology." But deep in his mind, a troubling thought began to form. What if they had underestimated humanity's capabilities? On Luna Base, Dr. Haywan watched the final preparations with quiet satisfaction. Around her, hundreds of technicians worked at stations controlling the most complex system ever built by human hands. "Dr. Yan Su, status of the virus packages," she called out. "Ready for deployment. We've tested them against every piece of Harvester technology we've captured. The infection rate is 97%. Taesung reactor status: all 7 quantum reactors stable at maximum output. We could power half of Earth with this energy." Dr. Haywan smiled. The Galactic Council believed humans were primitive because they used simple weapons and old-style rockets. But while the Council watched their ships and guns, humans had been developing something far more sophisticated. They had learned to think. Hyojin, network status: all human vessels connected. Every ship, station, and defense platform is now part of our quantum communication grid. They don't even know they're linked to us. This was the secret the galaxy hadn't discovered. For 3 years, every human vessel had received routine upgrades to their communication systems. Small quantum transmitters disguised as normal equipment. Now every human ship in space was secretly connected to Luna Base through an instantaneous network. "Professor Minho, are the targeting systems ready?" Professor Minho looked up from his console. His team had spent 5 years analyzing captured Harvester technology. "We know their command frequencies, their network protocols, and their security codes. When we strike, their own systems will turn against them." The plan was brilliant in its simplicity. The Harvesters relied on perfect coordination between their ships. Every vessel was connected to their central intelligence through quantum networks. But networks could be hacked, and humans had become very good at hacking. "All stations," Dr. Haywan announced. "Prometheus protocol reaches final phase in 10 minutes. Prepare for cascade initiation." Across the solar system, human ships received the synchronized signal. But to outside observers, nothing seemed to change. The human fleet maintained its defensive positions around Earth. Their weapons remained powered down. They looked like a defeated force waiting for the end. The Galactic Council continued their observations, recording what they believed would be humanity's final moments. The Harvesters approached with mechanical confidence, certain of another easy victory. But in the quantum networks hidden throughout human space, something unprecedented was building. A weapon that would turn the galaxy's most fearsome predators into their own worst enemy. The countdown reached 5 minutes, and in the darkness between stars, the Harvesters flew straight into a trap 15 years in the making. The Harvester mothership emerged from the darkness beyond Pluto like a nightmare made real. The massive vessel stretched for hundreds of kilometers. Its black hull absorbed light, making it appear as a hole in space itself. Ancient weapon systems covered every surface, each one capable of destroying entire cities. Behind the mothership came its escort fleet. 10,000 ships of various sizes, all moving in perfect formation. Their engines left trails of energy that lit up the void like deadly stars. For 10,000 years, this fleet had brought death to civilizations across the galaxy. On the Council observation station, alarms began to sound. The Harvester fleet was larger than their intelligence had suggested. Admiral Cray stared at his sensors in disbelief. Sensor operator Kixnell, confirm those readings, Cray ordered. Kixnell's tentacles danced across her control panel. Confirmed, sir. The main fleet consists of 10,247 vessels. The mothership alone masses approximately 40 billion tons. Council leader Vextar felt his confidence waver. This was the largest Harvester fleet ever assembled. They weren't just planning to destroy humanity. They were planning to make an example of them. Begin recording everything, Vextar commanded. Future civilizations must understand what happens to species that resist the Harvesters. But technician Brixenel was focused on something else entirely. The energy readings from human territory had spiked again. The power levels were now beyond anything in their databases. Sir, Brixenel called out urgently, the humans are generating enough energy to power a Class 7 civilization. This is impossible for their technology level. Admiral Cray waved dismissively. Their reactors are overloading. We'll see spectacular explosions when they fail. Deep beneath Seoul, Professor Minho worked frantically at his control station. The hidden facility housed the most advanced computer systems ever built by human hands. Quantum processors calculated targeting solutions at impossible speeds. Professor, we have positive lock on the Harvester command frequencies, reported technician Nei Young. Her fingers flew across her keyboard as she monitored the enemy fleet's communications. Excellent. How many virus packages are ready for deployment? 7 million, sir. One for each unique signature in their network. Professor Minho smiled grimly. The Harvesters thought their network was impenetrable. Quantum encryption, mechanical safeguards, and AI monitoring systems protected their communications. But they had never faced an enemy that understood their technology better than they did. For 5 years, captured Harvester equipment had been studied in this facility. Every circuit analyzed, every protocol mapped, every security measure defeated. The humans hadn't just learned how Harvester technology worked. They had learned how to destroy it. On Luna Base, Dr. Hei-Wan received the final confirmation from Earth. All teams report ready. Virus packages loaded and standing by. She turned to her primary console and began entering the activation codes. Around her, the massive chamber hummed with energy. 7 quantum reactors channeled power through systems that existed nowhere else in the galaxy. Dr. Yansu, initiate cascade protocol. Dr. Yansu's hands moved across her controls with practiced precision. Cascade protocol initiated. Quantum resonance chambers approaching critical threshold. The displays around the chamber showed energy levels climbing toward values that should have been impossible. But human science had always excelled at making the impossible routine. In Earth's orbit, Captain Jin'e watched the approaching Harvester fleet through Busan Thunder's view screen. The enemy ships blotted out the stars, their weapons charged with energy that could vaporize her destroyer in seconds. Captain, Communications Officer Wu Bin reported, we're receiving final authorization from Luna Base. Jin'e nodded calmly. Around her, the bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency. They showed no fear despite facing impossible odds. They knew something the rest of the galaxy didn't. Weapons Officer Minho, are our systems synchronized? Yes, ma'am. We're connected to the quantum network. All human ships are showing green status. Navigator So Young looked up from her station. Ma'am, the mothership has entered weapons range of Earth. They're powering up their main batteries. Through the view screen, they could see energy building along the massive vessel's hull. Each weapon system held enough power to crack continents. The Harvesters were preparing to demonstrate their superiority to the watching galaxy. But they had made one critical error. They had brought their entire fleet into the Sol system. Every ship, every weapon, every piece of their ancient technology was now within range of humanity's trap. On the Harvester mothership, the Central Intelligence processed the final approach to Earth. The human fleet had formed a defensive line around their homeworld. 300 small vessels against 10,000 advanced warships. The outcome was predetermined. The Central Intelligence began charging the mothership's primary weapons. In 30 seconds, Earth's orbital defenses would be destroyed. In 60 seconds, the planet's surface would begin burning. In 2 hours, humanity would be extinct. But the mechanical mind noticed something unusual. Human communications had gone completely silent. No distress calls, no desperate pleas for mercy, no final messages to loved ones. The humans waited in perfect silence. The Central Intelligence filed this observation as curious but unimportant. Fear affected different species in different ways. Some screamed, others fell silent. The result was always the same. On Luna Base, Dr. Haywan watched the countdown timer reach its final seconds. Around her, hundreds of technicians prepared to unleash something the universe had never seen. All stations, this is Control. Execute Prometheus protocol on my mark. The quantum reactors reached full power. Energy flowed through systems designed to weaponize the fundamental forces of physics. In the containment chambers, captured harvester technology provided the keys to their own destruction. 3, 2, 1, execute. Dr. Haywan pressed the activation key. Across the solar system, every human ship received the same signal simultaneously. Captain Jinneh felt the slight vibration as hidden systems activated throughout Busan Thunder. Similar activations occurred on every human vessel in space. All units, Admiral Dongman's voice echoed across the quantum network. Synchronized to Luna Base transmission. Execute Protocol 7 for Earth, for humanity, for everyone who comes after us. The response came instantly from every human ship, station, and outpost. For humanity. But to outside observers, nothing seemed to happen. The human fleet remained in position. Their weapons stayed powered down. They looked like defeated prey waiting for slaughter. The Harvester mothership fired its first salvo. Beams of energy that could destroy moons lanced out toward Earth's defenses. But instead of vaporizing human ships, something impossible occurred. The energy beams struck invisible barriers and dispersed harmlessly into space. The Harvester Central Intelligence registered the failure and immediately recalculated. Its sensors detected massive energy fields surrounding every human vessel. Defensive systems that shouldn't exist were protecting the primitive fleet, but that was only the beginning. From Luna Base, Dr. Haywan's quantum transmitter sent 7 million virus packages directly into the Harvester communication network. The packets traveled through quantum frequencies, arriving instantly across the enemy fleet. The Harvester ships had no defense against this attack. Their security systems were designed to stop physical threats and energy weapons. They had never considered that an enemy might weaponize information itself. Lieutenant Jun Seo aboard the cruiser Incheon's Hammer watched his tactical display light up with confirmation signals. Captain, virus deployment successful. We have positive infiltration of enemy command networks. The virus is spread through the Harvester fleet like wildfire. Each packet contained instructions written in the machine's own programming language. Simple commands that use their own coordination protocols against them. Within minutes, 10,000 ships that had moved in perfect harmony for millennia began receiving contradictory orders. Some were told to attack their neighbors. Others received navigation commands that sent them spinning out of control. The ancient mothership itself suddenly found its weapon systems targeting its own escort fleet. On the council station, Admiral Cray watched in stunned disbelief as the impossible unfolded on his screens. This cannot be happening. How are the humans doing this? Council leader Vextar stared at the tactical display as if it were showing him fiction. The greatest fleet in galactic history was tearing itself apart, and the humans hadn't fired a single shot. The countdown to humanity's extinction had become the countdown to the Harvester's destruction. And the galaxy would never be the same again. The chaos in the Harvester fleet spread faster than wildfire. Ships that had moved in perfect coordination for thousands of years suddenly turned their weapons on each other. The ancient formation that had conquered 47 civilizations dissolved into pandemonium. Lieutenant Jun Seo aboard the cruiser, Incheon's Hammer, watched his sensors in amazement. Captain, the virus is spreading through their entire network. Infection rate is at 96% and climbing. Captain Lee stared at the tactical display. Harvester ships were firing at random targets, their own vessels included. The massive mothership's weapons had gone completely wild, sending energy beams in all directions. How is this possible? Lee whispered. Engineer Young looked up from her station with excitement. Captain, we're watching 15 years of human planning in action. Every piece of captured harvester technology, every intercepted communication, every tactical analysis led to this moment. The human fleet remained in position around Earth, their weapons still powered down. They didn't need to fire. The enemy was destroying itself. On the Council observation station, pandemonium erupted among the alien observers. Admiral Kray's reptilian features twisted in disbelief as he watched the most powerful fleet in galactic history tear itself apart. This is impossible, Kray roared. The harvesters have perfect coordination protocols. Their network security is impenetrable. Sensor operator Kixanel's tentacles trembled as she read her instruments. Sir, the humans have somehow infiltrated their command network. The harvester ships are receiving contradictory orders from their own central intelligence. Council leader Vextar felt his 6 arms shaking. How can a primitive species hack technology that has existed for millennia? Their computers are barely more advanced than mechanical calculators. But technician Brixnell had been monitoring the human quantum transmissions. Sir, I don't think their technology is as primitive as we believed. These quantum frequency patterns are more sophisticated than anything in our databases. The truth was beginning to dawn on the Council. They had been completely wrong about humanity's capabilities. In the Harvester fleet, the central intelligence aboard the mothership fought desperately to regain control. Its mechanical mind processed millions of calculations per second, trying to isolate the viral infection. But the human virus was unlike anything it had encountered. The infection didn't just disrupt systems. It used the Harvester's own coordination protocols to spread the chaos. Every attempt to send corrective commands only spread the virus further through the network. Harvester ships began colliding with each other as their navigation systems received conflicting orders. Weapons fired randomly as targeting computers lost all sense of friend or enemy. The perfect machine intelligence that had conquered the galaxy was now its own worst enemy. On Luna Base, Dr. Heywan watched the results with grim satisfaction. Tae-sung, what's the status of their fleet coordination? Engineer Tae-sung read his displays with amazement. Complete breakdown, Doctor. Their central command has lost contact with over 60% of the fleet. The remaining ships are operating on random protocols. Dr. Yan-su monitored the virus propagation. The infection has reached the mothership's core systems. Their main intelligence is fragmenting. This was humanity's masterstroke. The Harvesters relied on networked intelligence to coordinate their massive fleets. But networks had vulnerabilities, and humans had spent 15 years learning to exploit every single one. Professor Min-ho received reports from monitoring stations across the solar system. All sectors reporting successful virus deployment. The Harvester fleet is in complete disarray. Dr. Heywan activated the communication link to Earth. Professor Min-ho, are you ready for Phase 2? Standing by, Doctor. The cleanup protocols are loaded and ready. Phase 2 was the most audacious part of the plan. The virus wasn't just designed to cause chaos. It was designed to give humans control of Harvester technology. Execute Phase 2, Dr. Heywan commanded. Across the infected fleet, a new set of commands propagated through the Harvester network. But these weren't random instructions. These were precise orders written by human programmers who understood the alien technology better than its creators. Harvester ships began powering down their weapons. Navigation systems received new coordinates that sent them away from Earth. Even the massive mothership found its engines turning it away from the planet it had come to. Destroy Captain Ginny watched in wonder as the enemy fleet began an orderly retreat. Communications Officer Wubin, are we controlling their ships? Yes, ma'am. Luna Base has assumed command of approximately 8,000 enemy vessels. The remaining ships are either destroyed or completely offline. Weapons Officer Min-ho shook his head in disbelief. We've just captured the most powerful fleet in galactic history without firing a shot. Navigator So Young checked her sensors. Captain, the mothership is moving away from Earth. Its weapons are powering down. The impossible had happened. In less than 20 minutes, humanity had defeated an enemy that had terrorized the galaxy for millennia. On the Council station, the aliens watched in stunned silence as the Harvester fleet fell under human control. Admiral Kray's tactical computers showed readings that made no sense. How could a species with primitive technology suddenly command advanced alien vessels? Brixnell, Vextar said weakly. What are our sensors telling us about human capabilities? Bricksnell studied his readings with growing amazement. Sir, the power levels from their hidden facility suggest they possess technology equal to or superior to our own. The quantum networks they're using are more advanced than anything we've developed. The revelation hit the Council like a physical blow. They had dismissed humanity as primitive based on superficial observations. They had seen human ships with metal hulls and chemical rockets and assumed the entire species was backward. But they had never looked deeper. They had never considered that humans might deliberately appear primitive while developing advanced technology in secret. Counselor Nixila spoke the thought that terrified them all. If they can do this to the harvesters, what could they do to us? The question hung in the air like a death sentence. The Council had just witnessed a species they considered inferior defeat the greatest military force in galactic history. If humans could hack harvester technology, they could certainly hack Council systems. In Earth's orbit, Admiral Dong Min received the final reports from his fleet commanders. All vessels report successful mission completion. Enemy fleet neutralized with 0 human casualties. 0 casualties. They had defeated 10,000 enemy ships without losing a single human life. Admiral, Captain Yujin reported, we're receiving a priority transmission from the Galactic Council. They're requesting immediate communication. Dongmin smiled. I imagine they are. Put them through to President Myung-ho. This is a conversation for politicians. On Earth, President Myung-ho received the Council's desperate plea for audience. The same aliens who had dismissed humanity as doomed primitives now begged to speak with human leadership. Mr. President, Defense Minister Sujin said, the Council leader Vextar is requesting emergency communication. He sounds frightened. Myung-ho considered the request. The galaxy needed to understand that humanity was no longer the weak species they could ignore, but they also needed to understand that humans didn't seek conquest. Connect the call, Myung-ho decided. It's time for the galaxy to meet humanity properly. As the communication link opened, Myung-ho prepared to deliver the message that would reshape galactic politics forever. The age of human weakness was over. The age of human protection for all peaceful species was about to begin. The harvesters had learned too late that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology. It was the ability to think, adapt, and turn any enemy's strength into their weakness. And now the entire galaxy would learn that lesson.